Hello! Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ambition After Hours, where today we are talking networking, micro expressions, and body language, which should be really interesting because I think we all kind of do this, but we don't know that we do this.
And as an added twist, we're not holding mics today. So, I guess if you're watching this on YouTube, see if you can spot all the weird things that we do with our body language today without having mics to hold on to.
Exactly. So, but you know us, every episode we kick it off with a high and a low. So let's jump into that. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, so I'll start off with a high. This week, in preparation for this episode, me and Jen attended a networking event where we could go kind of undercover and really pick apart how people network. And I think it was fun to step outside of like my marketing persona and be an undercover cop for a little bit. So it was really fun for me. I have some examples that I can share. And it was cool. It was cool to do that.
It was cool. I actually think that I might pretend I'm doing that at all networking events to make them more comfortable for me in the future, but we could probably talk about that somewhere else in the podcast.
Fair enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was your high?
I think that my high was the conversation we had after that networking event. So Brittany and I have some big plans for supporting startup and mature female entrepreneurs like you and their businesses. So we had a really great conversation on the drive back to our respective offices about some of the things associated with that are in the works. So, and I had a big aha moment about how I was seeing this venture versus like what the venture actually is because of some really great questions that Brittany asked and some really great ideas that she has. So that was really exciting and got me kind of amped.
Yeah. And I think that goes back even to like last episode, like sometimes someone will be saying something and you might have heard it a couple of times somewhere else, but it takes one person to say it and you're like,
yeah,
the aha moment. So, okay, now this is the part you hate, but what was your low?
My low for this week was kind of related to what I thought was going to be my high. So, I've had some really interesting feedback on leadership in my role currently. And I thought that I had a really big win this week in terms of kind of breaking the ice and getting through to one of the team members. And then I found out on Friday, not from that team member, but, from some circumstances surrounding it, that what I thought was a breakthrough actually might have been a step back in the relationship. So that was a low for me. I've been spending a lot of time and energy trying to find a strategy for managing like different personalities, different work styles, and my own leadership style that up until now has been fairly successful for me. And it doesn't seem to be working. So I just need to spend a little more time and energy on that. But when you think something was a win and then you find out that it fell like a lead balloon, that can be a pretty big low. So that happened on Friday and we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah. Maybe mine is kind of along the lines of that. Anyways, so with staff, obviously, like you want to support their dreams and ambitions. I just found out that one of my staff is going back to school, which not leaving or anything, definitely wants to stay on, but means that their role will have to be significantly reduced so we can support this venture of them going back to school and learning all the good things. So now I'm like, I have some time, which I love that. And I appreciate that person for giving me the lead time to figure things out. But, now you're like, okay, you have to find the right balance of like helping this person and supporting this person and letting them do what they got to do, but still running your business and, doing what's best for your clients too. So I'm kind of in this like limbo situation where I just need to figure out what that's going to look like. And I don't want to like overload anyone else with work too, right? So we'll see. I'm trying to figure it out. I'll let you guys know what I figure out and how I work through it because I think that's probably valuable. But Yeah, I just as a type A, I hate being in a place of like unknowing.
For sure.
Like, and I feel like my team, they're for the most part like we're in a flow. And when something like this happens, it's like messes up the flow a little bit.
Yeah, I think we all love when we're in a flow state, and then just when we're in it, we're like, this is going to last forever.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, something changes and you're like, oh, right, this is entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I have to adjust on a regular and consistent basis.
Yeah, this is real life. So just, not that like them going back to school is my low. It's being out of flow state and just feeling a little bit like everything's up in the air until I figure out what the method of dealing with that is. So such is life. Well, I'll push through it and I'll let you guys know where I land and what happens, but that is where I'm at.
Yeah. I think too that the fact that, you are being supportive of this team member going back to school is huge in situations where I've been in a similar position, with study leaves or things like that. The more supportive I've been, the more likely I am to have that team member come back with appreciation and then be one of my most loyal supporters and team members going forward.
Right.
So we have opportunities in situations like that as like a silver lining to really make a really deep and loyal relationship with that person because you're supporting their dreams, which is awesome. I
also had actually just reflecting on the networking event yesterday. Another high, like mini high, I guess, aside from, being incognito undercover, was this girl came up to me after and she was like, oh, I think you, like, after you spoke, I checked and like, I think my cousin works for you. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Who's your cousin? She told me. And she was like, she loves working there. You treat her so well.
Aww. And
like hearing that as like a leader and someone who's building a business is like pretty powerful, right? So you're like, oh, and I sent her, we took a picture together and I sent it to my staff and she's like, oh my God, that's so funny that you ran into my cousin. But I was like, oh, just hearing that, like, your staff can say it, but it's different when you hear it from like, a third party, I guess. I don't know.
It's the truth then. Because when you're a staff telling you, oh, I love working here, it's the best.
Yeah.
You always wonder because they're telling the person that essentially signs their paychecks. Like, what are they going to be like? You would want them to say if they're unhappy, like, this is the worst. Like, I need these other things. But when they give you good feedback, it's really hard to take it at face value when it's direct, right?
Yeah, and I know like maybe we're touching on staff in next episode, but that is a great point.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we'll get to that. But today we're talking about micro expressions, body language, and networking because I've went incognito and we need to just debunk it, discuss it, tell people what to look for. So let's dive in. So let's tell people a little bit about the networking we did yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday we went to Womanition in Sherwood Park. It is a networking organization here in Edmonton. They have an Edmonton event and they also have a Sherwood Park event. And their mission is to expand opportunities for women entrepreneurs, which we think is great. So neither Brittany nor I had been to the Sherwood Park one before, which is part of the reason I think why we chose it, because we wouldn't really know anyone in the room too well. And so I had been listening to this book. I'm going to plug right now. It's called Captivate. It's by Vanessa Van Edwards. And I love this book. Mm-hmm. And listening to it, I'm not reading it. Listening to it in particular is awesome because she talks really fast. She's really animated. I don't know why. I just love her. I'm sure somewhere in her book she explains to me why I love her. But anyway, it's a great book. So there's some tips in there about how to be a master networker and how to build deep relationships. So we thought, what better way to do that and to test out if these theories are actual fact or if the scientific research that she's done proves true in real life than to pull some of the information from that and test it out.
Which we did.
We did.
Okay, so let's dive into it. So when I walked into the networking event, it was like buzzing, right? It wasn't too huge of a networking event. I'd say probably like 30 people, 40 people?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah. So it wasn't huge, but great energy.
For sure, great energy, yeah.
Everyone seemed to kind of maybe know each other in some kind of circle, but I wasn't. I maybe knew one person. And that was great for me. So when I was introduced to other people, it was interesting because I was like watching the way they talk about their business, and when you ask a question, like those like quick seconds before someone like answers a question is when you'll see the micro expression.
Yes.
And there was some interesting ones like there's this one micro expression, I think I have it on here. It's called the nervous smile. And I think I do it in networking only because I want to appear very like approachable. But the nervous smile is when someone smiles and the smile doesn't go all the way up to their crow's feet or like their I guess smile lines, we'll call them. Crow's feet is kind of like, you know, and maybe it's because I have Botox. I'm not sure. But I think I do this a lot because I want the person I'm talking to feel like we're engaging and I'm listening to what they say, but also that I'm like friendly. So I feel like I do the nervous smile. Also, I also do this one called the jaw drop.
I do that one too.
Do you?
I do it. I did it at the beginning of this episode, just to kind of like throw it in there.
Okay. Do you want to explain it?
If you're talking about the same one I am,
okay, go.
It signals interest and that somebody is surprised but also engaged in what you're saying. So eyebrows go up, jaw goes down, and that's them signaling to you that they are engaged in what you're saying. So for me, you saw that one. Talk about how you saw it, and then I'll talk about how I used this purposefully.
Okay, no, I use it, but yesterday when I was telling a lady that I was networking with, like, oh, hey, yeah, I have a marketing agency. I've been around for 9 years. She was like instant, like jaw drop. I was like, oh, I picked that up. Like, that's so funny because I do that, I guess, yeah, like subconsciously as a way to tell someone like I'm like, great, like, whoa, that's crazy. Or like, I don't know what the correct words for that is. Maybe it's like, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I did pick it up when I told someone that I've been in business for 9 years, and I was like, oh, that's funny because I think I do that too. And I definitely do. I think in all of these micro expressions, a lot of us will find ourselves doing them. And if you don't know you're doing them, now you'll be just like a little bit more aware. For sure.
Yeah, I think you will for sure. So for me, I used that to help build a relationship with somebody early on in the networking event. So this lady and I were chit-chatting. She was just introducing herself. And as soon as she said what she did, I did the micro expression of like eyebrows up and mouth a little bit open. And it's amazing, from that moment on, she just wanted to talk to me. I don't think she talked to anybody else the whole time we were there, which was kind of nice for me as an extroverted introvert because trying to meet a lot of people is overwhelming for me. But it did definitely get us onto a deeper conversation very quickly, which was super cool. Yeah. I really liked that.
Yeah. And in my, like, I had a couple conversations, not too many, but even when I was talking about, hey, you know, I'm in digital marketing, I told them that like my team is like women-led, women-employed, and I got the like eyebrow raise, like, oh, that's like so interesting, like, but makes sense because we were literally at a networking event where where we're supporting women, right? Like there was only women in the room that day. So when I aligned with, I guess, like the networking value in that room, I guess it could be surprising.
I decided that I was going to watch the person across from me instead of the person who was running the networking event to see how they responded to the things that the person who was running the networking event was talking about. And I could actively tell when she was irritated by the things the person said, just in a flash. Like she just like really quickly kind of like pursed her lips and her eyes would get skinny.
Was this me?
No.
Oh, I was like, I was sitting across from you.
Or if she thought and was engaged with the person, with what the person was saying, you could see like the corners of her eyes kind of light up a little bit. And so for me, I just wanted to see if I could spot how that person was feeling with what the leader of the organization was saying. And then from there, I found myself trying to decode and understand like why she might have had those particular reactions to what the person leading the event was saying. And it was really interesting. Maybe we'll share with you later, but it was really interesting some of the things that I think I figured out about, you know, what this person values and what they don't value and what they think is a win and what they don't think is a win. Particularly the lady was talking about how she never takes any time off. And this person's eyes got really kind of like almost like a micro expression between disgust and anger, which makes me think that rather than engaged disbelief, it was like, I don't trust you disbelief. Like, is that really?
You're like, I'm sure you do.
Right?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a really kind of facial expression. And I was like, she doesn't believe that we are having a set malfunction. She doesn't believe that this person works all the time, which I think is interesting. Anyway, so that was very cool.
Okay.
A micro expression that I noticed when we were networking.
Okay, yeah. And then you know what was really, because I looked at micro expressions before obviously I went into this networking event, and they talked about the half smirk, which threw me off a little bit because I would think the half smirk meant like happiness or like contentment, but that's not what it means.
No, it means contempt. Although I think with this one, you have to be careful with. So the thing about micro expressions, I think this is a really good time to bring it up, is some people have an expression that they use as just like a baseline. It's like a habit. So like for me, I have a habit of moving my fake wedding ring around on my finger. I fidget with it all the time, which is why I wear a fake one, because I've almost lost my real one on multiple occasions. So if that was a facial expression, it wouldn't be a sign of something. It would be my natural baseline. So I think you have to be a little bit careful with these sometimes. I often smile with one side of my mouth first because I used to be really self-conscious about my teeth. So when I go to make a smile with my mouth closed, I often can do it like a little more on one side of my face than the other. But I have to be careful with that now. And I know that now from listening to this book, because the thing about micro expressions that they've realized, there's a study in the book that says it will register for the recipient of the micro expression within 0.3 seconds of seeing it or something like that. So you don't even know that you've seen it and you will already instinctually respond to that. Really? So I might be giving people a half smile all the time because I'm self-conscious about my teeth, being like, oh, you know, I'm smiling at them. They think I'm warm. And they might think it's contempt, which might actually be why the other day we were on a Zoom call. And then after the Zoom call, Brittany was talking to one of the other people on the board and they're like, dude, she thinks you're super icy. I was like, huh? I really like her. Like I feel like her and I could be friends. And it might be because instinctively she might be seeing contempt all over my face all the time because I unknowingly have this habit now of smiling with half of my face because I used to be really self-conscious about my teeth.
Exactly. No, and maybe we've debunked that now. Like maybe now we know that you should not do that.
Yeah. Another one that I think speaks to the fact that we instinctually see things, but we have to be a little bit careful about how we feel about people and decode them when you're using this, is I know an entrepreneur who is a thinker. She thinks about everything. Okay. So oftentimes when you're talking to her, she'll be doing this. And it's not because she's like, that's the micro expression for angry. Yeah. Like pursed lips, but it's because she's thinking about how she can help you, or she's really trying to think and understand and evaluate everything you're saying. She's always seeking the truth. She's always seeking for that deeper level. This person, I know her really, really well. So when I see that, I know she's like just in thought mode. She's doing her best to hear me, to understand what I'm saying, and to provide support. But lots of people think she's pissed all the time. Like she's angry, or she's like really hard to get through to, or she's like really like. You know what's weird is one time I was golfing with other ladies and
I didn't really know them that well. And then after we went and had a bite to eat, and I was sitting across from one, and they were like, "Oh, so tell me about your business." Because sometimes when I golf, I do networking, not all the time, but sometimes. Should I tell me about your business? So I start telling her about my business, and like her brows are, I don't know if my brows are furrowing because I have Botox, but like her brows are furrowing. And I was like, did I say something wrong? Or are you like thinking I'm full of shit or something? Like, what's happening? And then, so you saying that now, being like, I know someone who furrows their brows because they're thinking, I'm like, oh my God, maybe she was just like trying to unpack like everything I was saying to her. And she didn't think I was full of shit. But then that day I left being like, what the hell? Like, that was so weird.
I actually think we're probably talking about the same person.
Really?
Yeah, we're not going to name names. But after this podcast, Brittany and I are going to, for real, sit down and be like, were you talking about this person?
Because I was like, that's so weird. But, and then like since have talked to her and she's like, cool. But like, I was like, oh my God, this is like the first time me and you are hanging out and you're furrowing your brow at me. That's so odd.
Oh my God, was it me?
No.
Okay.
No.
You know, I think Brittany just put like a really good tip in there, and maybe we can plug a great place that does this here in Edmonton called Skin Effects. But if you're the person who furrows their brow when they're thinking, and you're worried that people are taking it wrong,
Botox.
Quick fix.
Yeah, shout out to Maggie at Skin Effects.
Do we have to do one of those disclaimers like, we are not doctors, please consult your medical professional before putting any kind of chemical in your face?
Not sponsored, but would love it.
Would love it. If you're out there, Skin Effects, Ambition After Hours is here to support you.
Yeah, and so yeah. Anyways, I won't tell you all the Botox I get done, but that's fine. One thing that I do that I think is probably more self-soothing than anything is I press my lips.
I do that too. I didn't realize how much I did it until I watched this episode instead of listening to it. Not this episode, but the last one that we did. I was like, my lips are pursed through the whole freaking thing.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's because like before we do an episode, I always put like chapstick on. And I'm like I'm addicted to chapstick. But I watched that video and she was like, yeah, when people purse their lips, they're like trying to withhold saying something and I was like, no, but that's like not always the case because sometimes I'll be driving and I'll be like, so I don't think like, again, take it with a grain of salt, but sometimes a lip press means like you're suppressing like an emotion, usually frustration or hesitation. But maybe that's why I do it in the podcast because I'm trying to give you space to speak. And I'm like I'm a yapper, so I just hold everything in.
I bet you that's why I do it too. We're both sitting here like, give the other person a chance to respond.
That's totally what it is. Now, see, we have to unpack these things.
So funny. Okay, let's flip it back to networking for a second. So I think if I'm going to say like two things that are really important about micro expressions is one, gut check yourself, because there's a chance that you've subconsciously or consciously recognized a micro expression incorrectly and are reacting on that. The other one is if you consciously look for these in the context of what you're talking about, or you consciously put them in the context of speaking to somebody, you can elicit those responses in them. For example, when I gave the lady I was speaking with the surprise, eyebrows up, head tilt. If you're listening, if you're watching, I'm sure you're seeing me make a weird face and being like, what is that? But I'm trying really hard to do it naturally right now. And it did get us to a very deep and really interesting conversation. I actually learned a ton about what she did. And I don't know that I would have been as impressed with her and her business and all the things that she knows had I not given her that expression and basically given her permission to tell me to a deeper level what she does in her business. Yeah.
And be more like detailed on it.
For sure.
Because sometimes, maybe we'll get into this when we talk about body language. But sometimes you can just be like networking with someone who just like, perhaps is not a yapper like me, but perhaps is a listener. And then as a yapper, you feel like you're talking too much. It's just me. I'm the problem. But let's like, do you have anything you want to touch more on micro expressions?
Um, no, I think, yeah, actually, can we talk about the micro expression bingo card that we
Oh,
put
yes.
in
Good.
our links?
Yes. Okay, so I have a micro expression bingo card that you guys can play this game when you go out networking. And in this book that Jen is reading, she says the most powerful tool you can have is to speed read the people that you're talking to. So this helps you read where they're at, if you're doing a pitch with them, how they're feeling about it, if you've just met them in networking, what's going through their head. And I think what it allows us to do is just like rapidly, it's not manipulation. It's like adjusting to their communication styles. So
I think it's actually appreciating the person that you're pitching to. It is a win-win then. If you're throwing a lot of information at somebody and you're getting, confusion, you're getting anger, you're getting distrust, it could not even be that they feel those things about you. It could be your delivery. And really, what we want in any interaction with someone else is to be able to deliver information and meet them where they're at and build a relationship. So if you're seeing a lot of negative micro expressions, it maybe doesn't even have to do with anything that you're saying. It could be just your delivery. So if you can spot these, then it can help you to change your delivery to the communication style that the other person most wants to or is more easily receptive to, which also makes the interaction better for them. So I think if you're the kind of person who's like, this is manipulation, this is wrong, I challenge you to think, are we not doing our best to respond to the person in the way that best suits them? And isn't that a very appreciative and generous thing to do when you're trying to build a relationship with someone?
yeah,
To meet them on their level or communicate with them in a way that makes them comfortable.
I agree. Hence the bingo card. So if we can get really good at this, I think the only thing that will do is help strengthen our relationships in business
Yes.
and personally.
Yes, for sure.
So I know you're reading this book and I've read kind of the Cole's notes on it. I'm going to read it, I promise. But I was watching some YouTube videos last night on micro expressions, and one way to tell like a really empathic person or like sympathetic person is like when you're talking to them and they say like, oh, like I have been kind of struggling lately. I had to put my dog down. The heart is in the chin. So if they're really empathic, when you say something like that, they'll be like, yeah, exactly. So you'll see it in the chin. Or if you're in a relationship, in a new relationship, if this person is like starting to have caring feelings for you, you'll see it in their chin when you say things.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Which is like not obviously what this podcast is about, but I'll link the videos that I watched because they were really interesting in the sense that like, or this is totally off the rails, but when there's like a person with psychopathic tendencies, you can see the whites above their eyes. Like they're always like, and you can see like, I don't know even if my eyes are doing that, but like,
but what if they are? And now we're being videoed and the whole world knows that Brittany and I are both psychopaths.
Yeah. But like the white above your eye is like they're always in like photos like super, they look always surprised. Which is like a trait of that, which is pretty crazy. So I think if we take this like even like outside of business, it can tell you a lot about a person, whether you're dating them or you should probably stay away from them.
The other thing that I think you brought up, which is kind of cool, it's in this book, it's not what we're talking about today, but relationships are relationships. So a lot of the things that you apply in your personal life, with your best friends, with your spouses, with your friends, with your frenemies. Brittany and I had a great discussion about frenemies right before this podcast. You can apply in business in a different way. So for example, love languages, I know we've all heard a lot about that. Those would translate to appreciation languages when you are dealing with customers, when you're dealing with clients, when you're dealing with your team members, they will have an appreciation language, and that appreciation language is mirrored with love languages. So I think the overlying theme here is we're all human. We're human in business and we're human in our personal lives. So a lot of the things that can either derail or strengthen a personal relationship could also derail or strengthen a business relationship or business interaction.
Right. I agree. I think at the root of it, this is like we're human and we communicate, but this is like so much deeper than just spitting words at someone or having a conversation with someone. Like this is how someone knows, like, gut check that you are their people.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And just to circle back to the micro expression bingo, you might start by trying it when you're watching TV. Particularly if you're watching a show like a sitcom, they usually have like 5 different personality types and they exaggerate those personality types. So in those kinds of shows, I'm thinking like Friends, Big Bang Theory, like they have, one of each personality type and they exaggerate those personality types. You might try to spot the micro expressions there because they'll over exaggerate them, which will make it much easier for you to spot them in regular life.
Yeah, that's an amazing tip. But let's jump into...
Could we have a wine night where we watch old sitcoms and have a sip of wine every time we correctly spot a micro expression?
Yes.
I mean, to sleep over.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there'll be driving involved, but that just popped into my head about a fun activity that we should do.
Super dangerous game, for sure.
Anyway, this is a business podcast. We're going to be serious now.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's roll into body language cues, because I think micro expressions are sometimes like milliseconds and they're kind of hard to catch if you're not paying attention to them, but body language is a little bit louder.
And body language is something that you can more easily control in your own behavior because micro expressions are oftentimes involuntary. So body language is something that can really give you a step ahead in networking and in just how you feel while you're networking, which is very cool. And they're much easier to control. Can I start with an example that I thought was really cool?
Sure. Yeah, go.
So there are your shoulders and your neck speak to your likability, your confidence, and whether or not people are going to want to engage with you. So if you're turtled, so your shoulders are up by your ears and your head is kind of down, this signals fear, it can signal shame, it can signal all sorts of, negative type emotions. Whereas if your shoulders are back and your chin slightly up, that signals openness, it signals all sorts of things. What I want to say that's super interesting is when you're on your phone, you are naturally turtling. Just like pick up your phone right now. Your shoulders are together, your head is down, right? And what do we all do? This is completely 100% stolen from Vanessa Captivate, the book I read, but what do we all do when we're waiting at a networking event or when we're uncomfortable or like when we have a couple seconds? We pull out our phones. What do we do when we're waiting for a business lunch person to show up? We're on our phones. And so they walk in and the first thing that they see is
I hate this right now.
Turtle expression. They see hunched shoulders, they see head down, and immediately you're not portraying confidence. So one tip that I've been trying to do in channel is when I'm waiting for somebody at a business lunch or networking event or anything like that, I will put my phone in a very inconvenient, like very, very bottom of my purse so I can't even reach it. And I will try to think of some sort of game to play in, like, hey, spot how many blue things there are in the room or count how many servers there are or how many drinks are ordered before your lunch meeting arrives. And that has you shoulders back up looking around the room. So no matter when they come in, you are immediately portraying confidence and you are giving them the openness, like, hey, come approach me, instead of immediately, kind of turtled in and fearful.
And I'm so bad for just like, if I'm waiting for someone to be like on my phone.
I think we all are. I mean, you in particular, it's like you're getting work done.
Yeah, actually, like literally, like my whole work is run off my phone. Funny that you say that now, because now I'm going to be so focused on it. But also, for those of us that work at a desk, like we're in like shrimp mode, like 95% of the time. Like I feel like my spine is like having a shrimp curve to it now because I work like that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever just tried to sit like super straight back for like a really long time and like your back muscles are like screaming at you because they never are in that position? I think I need to take like professional dance classes because they teach you to like.
Can we do that together? Because I used to dance when I was a kid and it would be so much fun.
Sure, yeah, I've never danced.
It'll be fun.
I've always been
We're
in
gonna
like
have so much
combat
fun.
sports, but like, sure, we'll try it.
So body language.
Right.
Shoulders back, head slightly up. The other aha moment that I had is we're girls, right? So whenever a dress has pockets, we freak out about it. Because like,
I
who
love a
doesn't
good
want pockets in
pocket.
everything?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to stick their hands in their pockets at all opportunities?
The dress I was wearing yesterday had pockets.
It did have pockets. It was also very cute and a really
Thank you.
good color for you that I don't see you wear that often.
Thanks. I think it was from Winners.
It was very
Winners.
cute. Pockets. So they did an actual study on this, and we're all from cavemen, basically. And when you can't see someone's hands before, there was all of the technology and speech, like way, way back when we were cavemen days, if you couldn't see someone's hands, you were immediately fearful because then you didn't know if they had a weapon or something like that. So apparently, scientifically, they did studies on this. If people can see your hands, they will trust you more than if they can't see your hands and your hands are in your pockets.
I'm going to double hand wave
or in your purse or in your, like grabbing your business cards, whatever it is. And how easy is that just to make sure people can see your hands? I think naturally being able to see your hands and having an open posture will signal trust. So in a situation when you're at a business lunch, you don't want to have your hands below the table on your phone. You want to be, I count things around the room. I'm an accountant, what I do. But whatever game you want to play with yourself to kind of be open. Or you could even read a book because then your hands are out. So I would count things and I would have my hands like nicely on the table instead of in my lap. Then when the person comes in, I have confidence and I have trust because they can see that I'm not holding a weapon, which is not what they're thinking. Like, oh my God, I'm going to go meet an accountant. Does she have a knife under the table? Like, I would hope that nobody is thinking that, but it doesn't matter. It's instinctual from evolution that we automatically have less trust for a person when we can't see their hands.
No, I get it. I think we are so like I won't say like ancestors, but like we're so archaic in some ways still, like our brain is functioning on that level. So these are all great points.
The other point that I wanted to make about body language is body language is a language for a reason. So I've been testing out some of these things and think about how you feel. Like just make the turtle posture and then think like, how does this make me feel? Am I feeling energetic or
My
tired?
back muscles are like, this feels normal.
Am I feeling open or am I feeling excited or am I feeling calm? Like, what are you feeling? If I turtle really badly, like I think you can even hear it changes your voice tone, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're turtling in, your voice isn't engaging, you're not as energetic. And then conversely to that, if you have a really open body posture and your shoulders are back, you feel, well, I shouldn't say I feel differently.
Mm-hmm.
I feel more energetic, I feel more engaged, I feel more purposeful, so the next time you're feeling really tired and like you don't want to do something, just throw your shoulders back. I know I'm kind of old, so maybe this isn't a show that you all
Don't throw
watch.
it back too fast is what you're saying?
No, don't throw it back too fast. Don't throw it back out. No, I was going to talk a little bit about, do you remember Amelia from Grey's Anatomy? Does anyone watch that show?
Yeah, I remember.
And the superhero posture where she said, scientifically it's proven that if you stand like a superhero for 2 to 3 minutes before you do something difficult, the chances that you'll be successful are increased.
Okay, I had a coach that was like in the coaching. I was just going to bring that up as
sorry.
That's so funny. No, but so I took a coaching program a couple of years ago, and that was one of the tips is like at least once a day stand like Superwoman. And it really does work. Like, da, da, da. That's why, like, sometimes I did it yesterday. I don't know if you caught, but we were in a group. We were talking to some women and someone said, oh, what do you do? And I said, oh, yeah, I'm in marketing. Like, I do all the fun stuff. And then she's like, oh, so you're in marketing? And I was like, da, da, da. Like, I actually do that.
But right after that, she doubled down on what her firm does. And I caught that because I was like, go Brittany. She's like, actually, I have a full service marketing firm. We give people the full package from brand creation straight through to implementation of social media. Because the person had kind of asked, oh, so you do social media? And Brittany was like, actually, I am superwoman of marketing. And I was like, look at how confident she's being. Like, that is killer.
I don't know, again, subconsciously, but I think like I know about the Superman post, so maybe that was what came into my brain.
I would like all of you that are listening to this to pretty please try the Superwoman pose. We don't say Superman on the show.
Yeah.
We say Superwoman.
Yeah.
Try the Superwoman pose. And anonymously on our website, you don't have to say who you are. Just tell us, like, when you stand that way, did your success improve? How did you feel about it? Did people notice? Did people respond to it? I mean, obviously, if you're a networking event, you're not going to go like full Superwoman because people would be like, what is happening now? But I think you could easily, like, very nicely
like
put your hands on your waist.
Yeah.
And you could, throw your shoulders back a little bit. You could put one foot slightly in front of the other so that your feet are wide, but not like, you're going to fly off and save the world.
Yeah.
I would be really interested to know how that works for everyone. So please engage, connect.
Yeah, exactly. On our website. One thing I wanted to kind of debunk in body language is we've often heard that arms crossed is like they're shutting themselves off to you. Like they're done. See you later. Sayonara. And that's not often the case. I was watching a video of a CIA agent that specializes in body language. And he said more often than not, when people are standing with you or talking with you and they go to cross their arms, it's a self-soothing thing. Like they're giving themselves a hug. Same with like, they say like, oh, they looked one way, they looked the other, they touched their face, they're lying. No, like people do that also to self-soothe, which I've never heard that side of things before, but I mean, CIA agent, so.
It makes sense. Like, think about
I do it all the time.
How
I'm
you
not
feel
a closed person.
when you even if you just touch your leg or you like, for me, like I often find that I like start to squeeze my hands together.
Okay.
That's not anger. I think that's me just like giving myself like a little bit of like holding my own hands. Like, you can do this. You're
Support.
You're a boss. Or as Brittany's currently doing, please let this work out.
Yeah. Exactly. But I am a natural like arm crosser. Like this is so natural for me. And I'm not closing myself off. I'm just like,
why do you hate me, Brittany? Go ahead.
Hanging out here, right? So I thought that was very interesting when he was like, I know you might think these people like are shutting themselves down, but actually they're like self-soothing, which makes sense that I do it in like public situations because I'm also extrovert, introvert. And sometimes I need like sometimes I need a hug, So I use it probably as a self-soothing. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting. Even like the touching the face, because a lot of things will say like if they touch their face when they're telling you something, they're lying to you. No, self-soothing.
Yeah. So I think you have to be careful when you are making assumptions. You have to kind of get a baseline for a person first and then gut check it.
Yeah, like if their body language is matching their micro expressions, then for sure.
Yeah.
Switch it up. Also, like when you're talking to someone and they're like slowly shifting their body where their feet are pointing to the door, they want out of there.
This is also a good way to get out of a conversation. There's
what? Okay, tell us.
I tried this as a way to get, not to get out of a conversation necessarily, but just to see if it worked. So Brittany and I were at a networking event. It was over. There had been some people who came and talked to us because we killed it when we did our elevator pitches.
We really did.
We really killed it. So we attracted a lot of attention. Go us. So lots of people wanted to talk to us, but we both had limited time and there were certain things that we needed to debrief, particularly about our little experiment after the networking event. So consciously or unconsciously, this this very lovely lady was speaking to me, and I do actually want to meet with her and have a coffee, but I started looking towards the door, partially because Brittany was there and partially because I felt like we were running out of time. And the lady caught it, or even subconsciously caught it and said, okay, well, give me a shout when you have some time and we'll meet up. And I was like, oh my God, I actually just nicely signaled that, hey, we need to take this conversation to another time by just looking towards the door.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you are in a networking conversation, and when we go to networking events, sometimes it's really nice to talk to one person, but is that really why we're there? And if it is, great. And if it's not, and you need to kind of get to the next person, or you're not vibing with this person, or whatever the case may be, you can point your feet or shoulders slightly towards the door. You can look towards the door or the bathroom. And the third tip is you can ask them for something that's happening at a later date. So you would point your feet towards the door, look away, and say, what are you up to this weekend? And Brittany will say, oh, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. You say, oh, great. Well, you have fun with that. We'll connect again next week.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great time. Love to hear about it when I reach out to you on Monday, and then walk away.
Ooh, yeah, so that's a good segue.
If you ask them about a future plan, then you can respond to that and use it as a exit point of the conversation.
So you said, you mentioned not vibing with you, but I want to talk about something that someone will do if they are vibing with you that you can totally read. So as we know, if you are vibing with someone, they'll often mirror you. And a quick way to gut check this is if you're talking to someone and they say, I'm like, oh, hey, Jen, what do you do for work?
I help small business owners increase their bottom line, both in terms of tax minimization and in terms of profitability.
Oh, okay, you help small business. So I mirrored exactly what she said. And then there's a stronger connection there. You can take it one step further. And if you go to test this, if they're vibing with you, if you move your shirt or touch your arm or something, they'll slowly do it. And which is funny because they are connecting with you, right? That's how subconsciously their brains are their arm will do something, might not be the exact same thing, but in the vicinity, which is interesting to know that they're connected with you.
There's also a science, this might come from neuro-linguistic programming science, NLP, okay. And you could use it both ways. So you can see if they're vibing with you. Maybe, did I already say this? You could see, or did you already say this? You could see if they're vibing with you, if they're mirroring you, but if you're in a sales position and you want to expedite the relationship that you're building, you can also mirror them, but you have to don't be weird about it. If they touch their eye, you can't be oh, and if they touch their shoulder, you can't be slapping your shoulder. It would be more if they lean in, you lean in. If they put their hands on the desk, maybe you pick up a pen and make note and then put your hand on the desk, just showing them I'm like you. The science behind that is that we like people who are like us. Right. So if we like you, we want you to know that we like you and we are similar to you so that you like us. So we'll mirror your behavior. We'll repeat back to you what you said. Have you ever noticed that the way that you speak and the type of words that you use is sometimes different in different situations? It's the same thing. The way that I speak when I'm speaking with one of my clients is significantly different than some of the phrases and words that I throw in when I'm here on the podcast or speaking with Brittany. Mm-hmm. Same thing. We naturally mirror each other's behavior to create a relationship and build likeness.
Yeah, which, I think that just goes back to subconscious too, survival mode, monkey brain.
For sure. Are you going to get eaten by a lion or are you going to run away?
Not if I look more like the lion, maybe I won't get eaten in by him,
There you go.
Seriously. Oh my gosh. So I think we can take a lot from these micro expressions and this body language. What I want to do is just maybe give 3 to 5 conversation starters that are not typical conversation starters for people who are out there networking. So after the basic, oh, what do you do? What's the next question?
I love this one. What was your high for the week?
Of course, we love that one. Duh.
I tried it out on 2 different people and immediately got the engaged micro expression from them and more information about their business.
Yeah.
And then they give you, usually after they've told you all about the high, then they get curious about what your high was, which gives you an opportunity to tell them the best thing you did in your business that week and how great is it to be able to brag with permission.
Yeah, I love that. Another one for me was if I'm talking to someone and they're like, yesterday I was talking to someone and they're like, oh, I'm a life coach. I help women, 45 and older discover like their passions. And I said, oh, was there a pivotal moment in your life that made you want to become a life coach?
I love that question.
And she was like, that's a great question. Like she verbally said, like, that's a great question. And then she dove into like what had happened to her that made her segue into this. And I think that was just like, I was like, yeah, because I was there undercover. Obviously. But I do love the win one. I do love the like what in your life has led you to this one. Do you have any others that maybe you want to talk about?
Yeah. What's the most exciting project you're currently working on? Or what passion project has you excited these days?
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I love when people ask me that because then I get to talk about the podcast. So that one's a little bit selfish because then they ask me and I'm like, I have a podcast with Brittany. It's called Ambition After Hours and it's for you, my friend.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are great 3 takeaways that you can run away with and, take all the advice on the micro expressions and the body language and the, network starter questions and run with it. Test it out, have fun, pretend you're an undercover if you need just some way to get outside your head and talk to people. I think that is just what I did. And I felt a little bit more comfortable yesterday.
Yeah. I'm going to highlight reel this episode for us. Can I? Because it's my favorite.
Jen's favorite part of the episode is putting this episode into a highlight reel. So take it away.
So 3 highlight points. 1, micro expressions and body language are both good for giving and receiving. And what you're doing is making a win-win situation. The second thing is micro expressions and body languages change how you feel. So you can either use them to self-regulate and decide how you're feeling, but you could also use them to create confidence and energy when you're struggling. And lastly, you want to have 2 or 3 interesting questions prepared for when you go into a networking event. And pro tip, pretend like you're a detective and try some of these out. It was the most fun I've ever had at a networking event, and it makes networking fun again.
Fun again. And with that said, guys, there's one more important thing that we do have to let you know about. Me and Jen will be speaking at the JV Retreats Women Wellness Retreat this November 7th to the 9th at the Fairmont Lake Louise. We're going to be doing a live podcast interview style. So Jen is going to interview me about my journey as a woman, a child, just about everything that I've done to get to this point in my life. And I am so excited. If you've never attended a JV retreat before, it is an awakening. If you need time to just step away and find yourself again, it's the perfect opportunity to do so. So stay tuned. We'll also post that podcast when it comes out, but it is something we are so excited to be partnering with JV Retreats for. So that's a wrap on today's episode, and we'll post the links and the information to everything we talked about in our podcast. Have a good day, everyone.
Yes, and just stay tuned for our next episode as well. It's going to be on HR, which is, I think, going to be interesting and informative for both us and you. So stick around for that. And we will see you next time.
Later, Gators.
Bye.